Well, we have made it through the whole first semester pretty much. We're almost there. So today our lesson is to review so that when you take the quarterly assessment, you'll do great. You're going to ace this. You've got this. We really, really worked hard when we were on these. I know this seems like a long time ago because it was last year. We did Unit 4 where we did like terms, 1 and 2-step equations, and the distributive property, which happens to be my favorite property of all of them. And then most recently, in Unit 5, we worked on the coordinate plane, we did intercepts, we've done slope, and you guys know this stuff. You're good, just use those help sheets. So I'm going to do a little review, and you'll get a little practice in this review also. So reminder of what is in an equation. Be able to name these equation parts. And this help sheet is in with all the other help sheets. Okay. The number out in front of a letter, one that multiplies a number, is any number is a constant because it doesn't change. But this particular constant has another special name called a coefficient. These are also constants, as you know. There's an equal sign. Here's our operator, which happens to be subtraction. Here's our variable, the letter y, and it's also called a factor. And over here, the 3 and the y are both called factors. You can see I added that to this little thing because they multiply each other. This whole thing is our equation. Individually, these little guys with the blue boxes are all considered terms. And next, we're going to need to talk about like terms. What are like terms? Well, those are terms where their variables match perfectly. The exponent, everything. Okay? Just like you see down here. We have A's for this one. See how they're all in blue? This one's a 3A, this one's a 12A, this one's a 54A. We can combine them if we stick operators in there and say multiply, well, add or subtract, okay? These are already multiplying, but we can add or subtract them with doing because they have the same term. We could have multiplied them whether they're the same terms or not. It doesn't matter, same kind. But you can see these are just x's. And notice these, the exponent is on the y only, all right? They have to match perfectly. They all have to have the same exact variables with the same exact exponents. So let's see how well you understood that. Simplify this little expression. Okay, don't be fooled. Simplify this one for me too. Okay, now let's talk about one-step equations. One-step equations will do one thing, right? You'll either add, subtract, multiply, or divide to simplify them or to solve them. So let me show you what you do for each of these. We're going to do the opposite. All right, so if you see addition going on, you're going to subtract. If you see subtraction going on, you're going to add. Same thing for multiplication and division. If you see it being multiplied, the variable being multiplied, we're going to divide. And if you see the variable being divided, you're going to multiply. So let me show you real quick. First we subtract. Oops. In this case, the 14, sorry. I'm just trying to get used to this now again. I messed up my PowerPoint a little bit and had to refigure this out. Okay, so the 14, even since there's nothing in front of it, we know it's being added. All right, in front of it is a plus sign in our imagination. I'm just putting it there to show us. All right, so it's being added to the x. We're going to subtract it from both sides. Now remember, we must keep both sides balanced. Do the same thing to one side that you do to the other, always. That's why it's an equals, okay? So it equals. So here, the 14s cancel each other out. They become 0. So we just have an x left over here. 12 minus 14, our bigger number that looks like our bigger number is 14. So we're going to have a negative answer. So we can switch it around and think to ourselves, 14 minus 12? Oh yeah, that's just 2. But remember, it's going to carry the sign of what appears to be our bigger number. Now down here, this one's a little in the right order more. We're just going to add 9 to both sides. It's that simple. Okay? Add 9 to 24 and we get 33, I believe. And these cancel each other out and we just have x equals 33. Simple, simple. Here, x is being multiplied by 4, so we're going to divide by 4. Right? Whatever the number is doing, use that same number and do the opposite. Divide by 4. And this one, x equals 6. And last, for when you see division, a fraction is actually just division. We are going to multiply. You see, we're trying, in this case, to cancel these 5s out, just like we canceled out these 4s up here. All right, now remember, whatever you see happening over here, do the exact same thing. Don't get confused. A lot of times people say, oh, 5 goes into 15, nice and easy, 3. No, 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 no. This is multiplying the x. All right, it's multiplying the x over 5, I mean. Okay, so it's being multiplied so that we can get rid of this down here. We need to multiply by 5. And oh boy, 5 times 5 is 25. And 1 times 5 is 3. So it's 75. And don't forget, this is a negative. So it is negative 75. And that is what x equals. Whew, that was a rough one on the brain so early in the day for me. Now it's your turn. Show me what you know. All right, I'll bet you know this one too. Okay, don't be fooled. What's it doing? Do the opposite, both sides. All right, so now you're also going to get two-step equations where you've got to do two things to get done. So the first thing you want to look at is what is being added or subtracted to our variable. All right, so you're going to look at adding and subtracting first. Those are the first things you're going to do. Then you're going to look to see, is anything being multiplied or divided? All right, do that second. But first you're going to do adding and subtracting. So look at this one. 9 is being added, so we're going to subtract 9 from both sides for our first step. Okay, see, it says two-step equations. This is step 1. We've got 30 over here, 39 minus 9, and we're going to be left over here, and those cancel out with 5x. Second step, we look to see now what is happening to our x. Well, 5 is multiplying it, so let's divide it by 5. Divide by 5. So in this case, x equals 6. Now you can double check your work, go back up and stick the 6 in there for the x. So we've got 30 plus 9 equals 39. It worked. Yes. All right, now this one, the first thing again, let's go back. We're going to add and subtract first. So we look. Oh, 15 is being subtracted from our variable, so we're going to add 15. That gives us 20 on this side. That goes away. And that leaves us with y divided by 2 on that side. Now, I know it's tempting to divide the 20 by 2, but don't do it. Don't fall for it. We have to multiply this side by 2 over 1 to make these cancel each other out. Okay? So that we end up with a y. But do not fall for it. Make sure you multiply by 2. Sorry, that's supposed to be a 2, not a 20. 2 times 20 is 40. So in this case, y equals 40. Let's double check and make sure we're right. 40 divided by 2 minus 15. 40 divided by 2 is 20. 20 minus 15, does that equal our other number on the other side? Yes, it does. It equals 5, so it's good. All right, your turn. Show me what you know. Okay, you can do this. I know you can. 2 steps. Remember, adding, subtracting first, then multiplying or dividing. Now we're going to talk about the distributive property. And like I said before, this is my favorite property. All right, I forgot that there were animations on this. So you can see how it works. You take the number or letter that's out front, and you multiply times each term inside the parentheses. We add little rainbows, okay? So when we do that, we end up with this setup. That letter out front or that number out front, multiplying times each one of them, okay? Now let's see, proving here that it works. If we have real numbers in here, we can just do this with the order of operations. 3 plus 4 is 7. 2 times 7 is 14. But showing here how distributive property works, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. Add those together, we also get 14, so it works. Make sure you use it. Again, this is another help sheet that you can use. Make sure you do it carefully. First to your distributive property, and then combine your like terms. Notice we don't have an equal sign. You don't have to solve for k. You're just going to end up with another expression, as you can see. All your choices are expressions. Okay, now I threw in an equal sign. So it's a little bit more of a challenge, but you can do this. Do one side at a time. Do the distributive property on the left, then the distributive property on the right. Then look at the terms, combine them, and then finally solve for x, and then check it. Ooh, now that should be a challenge. Throw that answer back in and check your work. Well, guys, that's our review of Chapter 4, Unit 4. Hopefully you got that. If you missed anything, please ask. We're here to help. You've got lots of teachers in and out. We want to help you out. So make sure you practice, practice,